Welcome back, Heroclix fans. Today we're going to take a look at the new team bases. I know there's been a lot of talk about them, and we're going to take a look at them and look at their symbols and look at their special powers and the mechanics between the switch clicks and their dials and their team bases, and actually get a good idea of how to play these guys. Starting off, you can see right off the bat that these team bases are totally different than what you're used to right now. Right now you're used to a figure like this, free fall on a normal base, and her dial and her sculpt, it's all one piece, and you play this figure for 66 points and you build a team around it. Now with the team bases, there are a select number characters that have switch clicks, and she is one of them. And basically they just come off their base just like that, and then they get placed on their team dial. Now Freefall is on the Gen 13 team base, so she would be right there. Alright, let's take a look at the base here. As you can see here, we have the name Outlaws, Outsiders, and there's 3 different point costs. Now as you look at it, you're like, 385? Well, when a figure is placed on a team base, you add 5 to your point total. So if you add the 3 of these figures on there, it comes out to a even 400 points. So you can play it at 400 points with the 3 figures, you can play it at 300 points, or 200 points when you put the characters on there. So we have our 3 different point costs. We have our set symbol, we have our set number. So let's take a look at the symbols here. The only thing that stands out that's new is a circular for attack, and that means it's a team base. There's nothing else that you really need to know other than that. If you come across that, it's a team base. And then there's a trait that will be unique to this particular figure and not necessarily for all other team bases. Force construction. When you add a team to your force, you must pay the cost of the team. For each team member that begins the game attached to the team, increase the point total by 5. A team must have a minimum of 3 characters, which is 15 points, attached at any given point unless a game effect says otherwise. Each team member attached to the team must have an asset ability listed on its card, whose icon matches the icon on the asset ability listed on the team's character card. So you have to match up the character card with the team card. And if they match, then that's a good fit for the base. Team members begin the game attached to the team, while their switch click bases may be included on your sideline. Teams and team members can't be signed resources, can't pick up relics, and can't become a pilot of a vehicle unless a game effect says so. The new team base symbol also grants the following combat abilities can be countered. If this character uses Earthbound neutralized, it can still use these abilities. So let's go into the new abilities that the team bases have. First here, I'm going to give you the names of the powers, and then we're going to go back and we're going to actually go step by step to learn these new powers. We have Working Together, Practiced Maneuvers, Solo Adventure, a Team Reunited, Team Coordination, and then there is the Asset Dial. So let's take a look at the Working Together combat ability. Give this character a power action, and it may be given 1 action as a free action for every 100 points or fraction thereof its point value. These free actions may be used for any action. You may only give the character up to 1 move action, 1 power action, up to 1 close combat action, and up to 1 range combat action. Any of these free actions may be used to make either a close or ranged combat attack. For example, if we were playing this team base at 285, there's 3 figures, that would be 15 points. So the total of this team would be 300 points. That would give you 3 free actions when you use the Working Together power. You give the team base 1 power action, and then now you can use 3 free actions, either move action, power action, close combat action, or range combat action as free actions. So that's really, really good. So for an example, how would you use your 3 free actions? Well, you can use your 1 free for movement, then let's do a ranged attack, because you have 8, and then let's do a close combat attack with charge. That's a good way to use your 3 actions, and you can use that for every time you use that power. And this team base is actually in Dom, so you could do that 2 turns in a row. So that's pretty cool. Working together is a good way to get the most out of your team base. And that's the only way you're really going to be able to be competitive with your team bases, so you can actually compete with the amount of actions. Moving on to practice maneuvers. This character can ignore elevated terrain and characters. This character may occupy squares of different elevations. Due to the fact that team bases are quite large, this helps you to maneuver around the map, and it's really cool that you can actually occupy different squares of elevation, which makes sense because if you look at this team base, we have characters that are kind of like on towers, which would be an elevated terrain. Then we have Aqua Lad. It's kind of cool that they actually let you place this team base on different elevations. So now we're going to cover solo adventure, which is very important that you pay attention. This is going to be key. Give this character a power action. Remove any team member from the team base and insert it onto its switch click base. Just like I mentioned earlier, you could take Free For All off the team base and put her on her switch click right here. And then you can place her adjacent to the team base. But let's finish. This character is placed adjacent to the team on its switch click base. Turn to its first click with a click number color that matches the team's current click number color. Let's cover that right now before we move on any further. When you take a look at this dial, you see some different colors here. We see a red here, we see a blue here. These two right here, 3 and 4, really kind of come off gray. And then we have like a yellowish 5 here. Now you look here on the team base, you see 275, 175, and 75. Those are 3 different colors: red, blue, and yellow, which I just showed you those colors on the base of Freefall. Now what you're not going to be able to see here is when you start clicking this team base here, it's going to start changing colors. Now if you're on your full points, it's going to be red. If you get down to the next tier, into the blue area, it'll be blue. Then when you get further down the dial, it'll actually turn yellow. So what you do on Solo Adventure, when you give Gen 13 a power action, you look at the color of that number right there, and then that's where the figure will come out on its switch click base. So that is red. So then when Free For All comes into the match, she will be on her first click because it is red. There's only 1 red, 1 blue, and 1 yellow. It is very hard to see, but trust me, that's what the colors are. And if you see here, this is the start of the 175 dial, and it is blue. So if you get on this part, every figure that comes in off of the Solo Adventure will actually start on their blue number. Further down on number 11, it turns into yellow, and this is the start of the 75 point. If you're on the team base at this level, then when you Solo Adventure, the character will come in on the yellow right here on the 5. All switch click characters are going to be different. They're not necessarily going to be on 1, 2, and 5. The red number most likely will be number 1. The blue number will probably not be number 2, but it is possible. In this case it is, but on a lot of other figures it's going to probably be number 3 or 4, and then the yellow is going to be further down. So just want to let you know, I had a little bit of an issue finding the colors, but that is how you match up the colors. Let's finish reading the power. If removing the team member from the team would mean that the total point value of the removed team member exceeds the point value of the team, then the team member can't be removed. When a removed character has multiple starting lines, its point value and starting line are considered to be the first starting line other than an orange starting line preceding the click it is on when placed on the map. So that is Solo Adventure. Let's move on to a Team Reunited. Give this character a power action. When it is adjacent to a character with a team member earlier to the game, remove the character from its switch click base and place it on the team, and remove the switch click base from the map. This is basically a way to get the character that you popped off on a Solo Adventure to get them back on the base. You just give them a power action when they're next to it, you switch them out, and they're back on the base. Team Coordination. When counting characters for a themed team, do not count the team as a character. Instead, each team member counts as a character. At the beginning of the game, when a team is part of a theme team, choose either theme team probability control can be used normally, or it can't be used and the team can use probability control. So you have two options there. You can either just choose probability control, or you can choose to have the theme team probability control. Now let's finish this with the asset dial. A team has a second dial called the asset dial. This may be a second dial on the team's figure base, just like the Gen 13 where it's a huge and it has the character dial and then it has the asset dial on the opposite side. For the Outlaws, they have a second dial, and this is the Outlaws asset dial that you use on the sidelines and just click it, just kind of like you use a resource. The asset dial begins the game on the green starting line. The opening will show A, asset icon matching the team members that make up the team, B, the circular combat symbol, or a special power. As you see right here, we just have the circular combat symbol. On the number 2 slot, you see we have Arsenal and Starfire, which have special powers that can be used with the team dial. When asset icons appear, the team can use the asset abilities referenced by each of these icons as long as the corresponding team member is attached to the team. When the circular icon appears, you may choose any team member attached to the team and use its asset ability granted by that character's icon. Asset abilities can be countered as if they were a combat ability. At the end of your turn, you may roll a d6 and turn the asset dial that many times to the left. If the circular icon is shown at the end of your turn, this roll is required. Alright, so we have the Gen 13 asset dial right here. As you can see, we have the circular combat symbol. So you start the game with this, and then you can choose any one of the characters on the team base to use their powers. Let's go and let's show you those powers right now. Burnout can use Pulse Wave, Fairchild can use Super Strength, Freefall can use Force Blast TK, Grunge can use the Move and Attack ability, and Sarah can use Energy Explosion with 3 targets. So at this point, you can choose any one of those 5 powers. So let's just say we use the Super Strength. That's great. At the end of your turn, you see that it has the circular combat symbol. That means you must roll a d6 and then turn the dial. So let's say we roll a 4. So at the end of our turn, we rolled a 4, and these are our new powers. We have Burnout, Sarah, and Freefall. That means now we have Pulse Wave, Force Blast, and TK, and Energy Explosion with 3 targets. Now, when it's our next turn, we get all those powers, and then we get to choose to roll a d6 because we do not have the circular symbol to tell us that we must roll. But let's just say if we were at number 7, now that you have those, you have Sarah and you have Burnout and you have the circular symbol, that means you can choose any of the other characters, but then at the end of your turn, you're gonna have to roll a d6 to roll that and get new powers. I just wanna thank you guys for watching my video on team bases. I know it's a lot to take in right now, but once you start looking at these team dials and their combat symbols, I think you'll start understanding a little bit more and you'll become better with these team bases. Hopefully this was informative and you learned a lot from this and you'll be using these team bases very soon. I just want to give you guys a quick update. The website is up and running and you guys can start pre-ordering the new Wolverine and the X-Men set right now. So check out the website, glasscabinethobbies.com. There's some figures up there that you can take a look at as well to purchase them, as well as pre-ordering the upcoming set, the countertop display, bricks, and cases. Alright guys, take it easy and have a great day.